My name is Algimantas. I represent Creator as his ambassador to this planet. Creator is made up of four personalities: the Paradise Trinity, three sources and centers, and I am the Aggregate Deity, written in all capital characters. I usually present spiritual teachings in English anywhere I enjoy the place being there, be it somewhere in nature, in the city, or indoors like it is now. In my native language, Lithuanian, I present my teachings during the living service at the living temple named after Creator, the Paradise Trinity. I am living temple, the only one the world over, because we do not have a single material ritual to perform. Our communion with Creator is out of our spiritual personality, and the words of the worship or petition prayer coming into our lips, out of our heart, in the very moment of speaking out the prayer. So there are no texts that we might be reading from some prayer books or memorize them by heart. Now, I desire to tell you some words about one's free will, because we say we have our own free will, but what is the meaning given to this free will phenomenon? Beasts, animals, birds don't have free will. They live following their instincts. We are the only order of personality status. And personality is making different decisions using its own free will. But personality as a living being is not simply sprung out of nothing. It's the gift out of Creator and by Creator to every person of the status of personality. And what is this status of personality? That is to evolutionize out of the condition for the better one. That is, all our decisions should be directed to a brighter light, to a better environment, to a better being of this person in this person's everyday living. So personality is a constant unit. It's changeless. But it has its own free will to change for the better the identity of the personality. So this very same person might have a better qualities of his character, a better decision directed to the implementation of Creator's evolutionary plan. So if I draw a certain conclusion, I would say that Creator has bestowed our personality upon each of the inhabitants of this planet. And once Creator has bestowed this eternal gift, of course, this eternal gift cannot function without its free will. And it means that personality's free will is inherent in the personality. That is, it's also the gift of Creator. So now, there are almost 9 billion people on this world. They all act by their own free will. But by this free will, which has been bestowed to each of them by Creator, even though they might know nothing about Creator himself. But all the same, the fact is they have been bestowed their free will by Creator himself. So I train spiritual teachers as Creator's ambassador and apostle of Creator's Son, who has bestowed his mission upon this planet 2,000 years ago in the identity of Jesus of Nazareth, and his partner, Creator Daughter Nebuchadnezzar, who has encircled the whole of the local universe by its Holy Spirit circuit. So I am their apostle. So I train future spiritual teachers, the teachers who might expand the outlook of these very same people inhabiting our planet now. Because this light is necessary to everyone, irrespective of the residence place of that person, because this light is coming from Creator, and Creator is the only Creator for personalities for the whole of creation. For 7 trillion worlds inhabited by humans, for souls, for spirits, they are at a higher status of their personality, and they are performing much, much more sophisticated tasks than we humans. We humans have to attend to our needs, that is, to follow our hygiene, that is, to process all garbage, all waste, then to provide heat to our local residence places, if these places are somewhere in the northern climate that has a very, very rough climate. So the heat is necessary, that all these resident places would be warming up to keep our material living body without being frozen. Then we have to receive a certain understanding of this planet, of humanity, of its evolution. That is, our understanding and knowing of this planet's future. And of course, we have to get a specific knowledge of Creator Himself and our link with Creator, as well as Creator's link with us. Because this is reality. This is a living system designed by Creator and which is being implemented on a multitude of worlds by Creator's evolutionary plan. So free will as a bestowal, as a gift by Creator to us, His sons and daughters, must be also used to follow Creator's leading from within. Creator is leading us from within because He has bestowed not only our personality and its free will, but also His own fragment, His own spirit, thought adjuster, and inhabited it in our mind, not the brain as a material part of our body, but within our consciousness, subconsciousness, and superconsciousness. But once our superconsciousness has been bestowed by our parents, earthly parents, by different dogmas, by different ideologies, by different traditions, and through generations. So this polluted subconsciousness is accumulating all these polluting materials. That's why our consciousness is not so pure, so bright to receive and take in a brighter knowledge, a brighter truth, a brighter reality that has been usually passed by some Creator's sons and daughters in the form of their revelations. So I do keep a living communion with Creator, and I'm receiving teachings, revelations from the Paradise Trinity I am, from these four personalities. And I share this knowledge, this bright and wider knowledge with my brethren. Some of them are in English, but the majority of them is in my native language, Lithuanian. I publish books of Creator's revelations. So all this knowledge is being shared by my free will. Nobody is paying me for all this work. I'm sharing it out of my pure heart because my personality has waked up to Creator's leading from within. So that's why at first, and that was more than 30 years ago, I was too much scared of Creator just to fuse my will with His. So that's why even in my, very shy, some assertions expressed within my thoughts when I was analyzing my day's routine just before falling asleep, I was even mentally raising a question to myself. Maybe this is my prayer. Because I didn't read prayers in some prayer books. I was just trying to formalize in certain categories my daily work, to analyze how I performed this work, whether I succeeded or, on the contrary, I was failing to do something. But all this analysis, little by little, developed into a certain form of generalizations that I raised this question to myself. Maybe this is my prayer. And there was the moment when I said, should I say that let my will be the will of Creator? Well, at that time I was using the word Father. So I didn't dare to say that after these generalizations I should wind up with this assertion. Let my will be that of Creators. If I acknowledge it, then I would limit my everyday, say, entertainment. If I want to go somewhere to a cafe, a restaurant, and to have some strong alcohol, even though I didn't drink, but a fairly small amount I could afford having it in a company. So I just was trying to figure out within myself, should I include this sort of an assertion in this communion with Creator? If I include it, then I would not do it. But I still consider that I would like to do it. Because if I include something in my prayer, that is my pledge to follow it. And again, time was passing, and I was more and more confident in using my will, in opening myself in this communion with Him in a more sincere way, that I would hide fewer and fewer things from Creator. And I would begin to feel more confidence in what I'm saying and what I'm feeling towards Creator. I was feeling some trust in Him. But that was so vague, I could not exactly define that this is my prayer. But that was the first step towards its climax. When I was asked by a person who has arrived from Australia to set up a church, that was too much for my mind. to set up a church, because I saw a church in Lithuania, which is a very strict and strong Catholic country, as a purely ritualistic and dogmatic, that is curbing man's spiritual growth by forcing him to perform certain rituals, to follow some religious feasts. That was not acceptable to my mind. I was a free-minded person. But that's another story about how the living temple was established. But I only try to attract your attention that even my free will was expanding its operation towards Creator. That I was ever more feeling desire to do Creator's will. And this desire was experienced within me by my spiritual personality. And of course, the Urantia book, the epochal revelation passed to humans from spiritual high status spirits, the Urantia book. It's in Lithuanian, but I translated this revelation book from English into Lithuanian. It's an enormous book, 2,097 pages of the text and plus 50 pages of the content. So this revelation has expanded my outlook, and I realized how my personality is in a way spreading out its wings in a free spiritual flight. So that's why the same person, me, but using my free will bestowed by Creator, was ever more directing it to Creator's person. And there was the moment, it's already far in the past, when I dared to speak out. My will is fused with yours. Fused. It is not a separate will. Now it's fused with yours. We have one will. My free will has limited that my spiritual personality, that is me, felt within. I do not need anything else but to fuse my will with Creator's. And that I spoke out, acknowledging this fact. But that was a process until I reached this climax, in this statement, in this assertion, in this acknowledgement. That was the sensation of the personality within me. Sensation is beyond words. It was so real. And I simply stated the fact. That's it. Nothing more. So one's free will has enormous horizon to operate, and it is meant for personality's spiritual light being experienced by the personality's ever brightening up identity in an eternal evolutionary direction on the living path, of the reality of Creator. And once you expand your horizon so wide that you embrace even the whole of creation and Creator within you, the operation of the free will is so limited that there is no any other free will operation outside Creator's will. And Creator is directing each one's free will to be directed back to Him, from evil to goodness, from anger and hatred to love, from ugliness to beauty, from revenge to mercy, and always in truth, justice. That's marvelous. One's free will is controlled by the personality, and its identity depends upon the personality's living communion with Creator, upon its depth, and of course upon the personality's personal efforts taken towards Creator. And once you fuse the will of the personality together with Creator, doing everything as co-creator, that's a growth of the personality identity. And it is unlimited, it is eternal, and it shall continue all the time. And even after having reached paradise, the dwelling abode of paradise, which is already in eternity. So this shall continue within eternity as well. Our free will shall always be fused with Creator's.